I can tell you the exact second my marriage stopped being a question and turned into an answer. It was the moment another man walked up to me at a party, looked me dead in the eyes, and called me a loser. But that night didn't start with an insult. It started with my wife asking which dress made her look less married. My name is Aaron. I'm 38, live in Texas, work as a financial analyst, and until recently, I thought my life was fine. Not perfect, not movie-level romantic, but steady. We had a house in a decent neighborhood, a dog that shed too much, and a routine: work, dinner, shows, bed. My wife, Nina, is the social one. She thrives on noise, lights, crowds, attention. When we first got together, I loved that about her. I was the quiet guy at the edge of the room. She was the one pulling me into the middle, putting a drink in my hand and saying, "Relax, you're allowed to have fun." We'd been married 9 years. 9. I thought that meant something. 2 weeks before the party, I started to notice the late nights. It didn't happen all at once. At first, it was, "I'm staying a little later, we've got a client coming in from out of town." Then, "We're going to dinner after. It's networking. Don't wait up." Then it turned into 3, 4 nights a week where she waltzed in at midnight smelling like expensive cologne I didn't own. I tried to ignore it. We'd had rough patches before. Times when work got busy, when we snapped at each other over small things, when we slept back to back and pretended it was just bad timing. I told myself this was another one of those seasons. Then I saw her phone. I wasn't snooping. I was cleaning the kitchen. Her phone buzzed on the counter, screen lighting up with a preview of the message. From Victor. Message: "Can't wait to have you to myself tonight. That dress last time, damn." I froze. There's a specific kind of numb that hits you when your brain is trying very hard not to understand what it already understands. I stared at the notification until the screen went black again. My heart was pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. A second later, another buzz. From Victor. Message: "Did you tell him you're working late?" Face with tears of joy. That one broke whatever denial I was clinging to. I didn't open the phone. I didn't scroll. I didn't take screenshots. I just stood there with my hand on the counter, trying not to punch through something. When she came into the kitchen 10 minutes later, she was humming. Actually humming. "Hey," she said, kissing my cheek quickly before heading to the fridge. "What's for dinner?" "Leftover pasta," I said, somehow sounding normal. "How was work?" "Same old," she replied. "Meetings, emails, people not reading emails. You know." "Long day tomorrow?" I asked. She nodded, grabbing a bottle of water. "Yeah. Big client event. Long night, so don't wait up." I watched her. "The client have a name?" I asked. She frowned, half annoyed, half confused. "What?" "The client," I repeated. "What's their name?" She shrugged. "It's a company, Aaron. They don't exactly walk in with name tags." "Right," I said. She looked at me closer. "What's with the interrogation?" "Just making conversation," I replied. She rolled her eyes. "Well, maybe try something less boring." Then she grabbed her phone off the counter. The screen lit up as she picked it up. I saw the first letter of a name before she tilted it away, V. She locked it quickly, laughed like nothing had happened, and walked out. I stared at the spot where she'd been standing and knew 2 things at once. 1, I wasn't crazy. 2, I needed proof. You see, there's a nasty trick your mind plays on you when you suspect someone you love is betraying you. Half of you wants to expose it. The other half would rather stay in the dark forever than have your suspicions confirmed. I chose the first half. The next few days, I watched more closely. She smiled more at her phone than she did at me. She guarded it like it was a weapon. She started showering as soon as she got home from late meetings. Every time I tried to talk, she blocked it with sarcasm. "Are you cheating on me?" I asked one night, half joking, testing the waters. She laughed. Actually laughed. "Please," she said. "Like I have the energy to juggle you and anyone else." That answer hurt more than a confession would have. Then the invitation came. We were eating dinner, takeout, sitting on the couch, when she casually said, "By the way, there's a party Saturday at Victor's place. Big deal. Clients, partners, the whole 9. My stomach flipped at the name, but I kept my face neutral. "Who's Victor?" I asked. "My boss," she said. "I've mentioned him." She had, in passing. "Victor wants this, Victor thinks that." I'd pictured some older guy with bad posture and a Bluetooth glued to his ear. Spouses invited? I asked. She hesitated. Just a fraction of a second too long. Yeah, she said. Technically. But it's more of a work thing. You'd be bored. I get bored at home too, I said. I'll survive. I'll come. She pressed her lips together. There's really no need. I want to see where you spend all those late nights, I said. Meet these clients you keep talking about. Her eyes flashed, then softened into something that looked like resignation. Fine, she said. But don't be weird. This is important for me. Of course, I said. I'll be on my best husband behavior. Saturday came. I expected her to be tense. Instead, she seemed excited. Too excited. She tried on 4 different dresses before settling on one that was just this side of inappropriate for a work event. Short, low neckline, open back. You sure that's for clients? I asked. She smirked at her reflection. If they signed the contract, it worked, didn't it? The drive to Victor's house felt longer than it was. We pulled up to a gated property with more glass than brick, the kind of place people post on social media with captions like, maybe one day. Inside, music pulsed at just the right volume, people in expensive clothes stood in clusters, glasses in hand. The air smelled like money and ambition. Nina lit up in this environment. She glided from group to group, greeting people, touching arms, smiling like she'd been born for this. I followed her, shook hands, nodded through small talk. I kept waiting for someone to point and say, "Oh, so you're the husband," with that tone that meant something else. Then I saw him. Victor was not what I'd pictured. He was mid-40s, tall, tan, hair just starting to gray in that distinguished way, expensive watch, perfect teeth. He had the easy swagger of a man who'd gotten away with too much for too long. He spotted us and came over. "Nina," he said, leaning in to kiss her cheek. "You look incredible." She smiled in a way I hadn't seen in months. "Thank you." He turned to me, offering his hand. "And you must be Aaron," he said. "The famous husband." Famous. Interesting word choice. I shook his hand. Firm. Controlled. "I've heard about you too." "Only good things, I hope," he said, eyes glinting. "Depends on the night, I guess," I replied. He laughed. "I like you." That laugh made my skin crawl. For the next hour, I watched them interact. He touched her elbow when he passed. She leaned in when he spoke. They shared little looks, tiny smirks, half-finished sentences only they understood. To anyone else, it probably looked like harmless flirting. To a husband who'd seen those messages on the kitchen counter, it looked like a live broadcast of betrayal. I didn't make a scene. I didn't drink enough to lose control. I sipped water, watched everything, and filed it away. Around 11, people started getting looser. The music got louder, ties loosened, heels came off. Nina disappeared to go chat with a client, leaving me talking to some guy about real estate. I saw her near the hallway a few minutes later, laughing at something Victor whispered in her ear. He brushed a strand of hair off her shoulder, too familiar, too comfortable. She didn't pull away. My heart sank, then hardened. I decided right then that if they were bold enough to disrespect me like this, I was done pretending I didn't see it. Not tonight. Not ever again. About half an hour later, I stepped outside to get some air. The backyard had a pool, string lights, people mingling with drinks, that fake laugh energy rich parties always have. I was by the railing when it happened. Victor walked right up to me, drink in hand, smirk glued to his face. Behind him, 2 guys from the office watched, amused. Nina hovered a few steps back, eyes wide, clearly realizing something was about to go very wrong. Victor stopped in front of me, close enough that I could smell his cologne. "So," he said, loud enough for people nearby to hear, "did Nina tell you she's staying with me tonight?" The words hit like a slap, but I didn't move. He chuckled, turned his head slightly toward her, then back to me. "You've done your job, man," he said. "House, stability, all that. Now let her have some fun." He reached out and patted my cheek. "And for you, bastard," he added with a smirk, "a consolation prize, my secretary." The patio went silent. Conversations died mid-sentence. Glasses paused halfway to mouths. It was like the music dimmed even though it didn't. My wife's face drained of color. In that frozen moment, with his hands still half raised from patting my face, 2 things became clear. 1, this man had no idea who he was dealing with. 2, whatever came next was going to change my life completely. I looked at him once. Then I looked at her. The woman I'd married. The woman who'd let it get this far. The woman who'd stood there and let another man humiliate her husband in front of a crowd. Something inside me snapped. But not in the way he expected. Because what happened next wasn't just about a punch. That was the easy part. The real revenge was still loading, waiting just behind my clenched teeth and quiet eyes, ready to hit much harder than my fist ever could. I didn't feel my fist hit his face. I heard it. A short, clean crack that sliced straight through the fake laughter and shallow music. 1 second he was smirking with his hand halfway in the air, the next his drink was flying, his body twisting, and he was on the ground staring up at the sky like it had betrayed him. People gasped. Someone yelled. A glass shattered nearby. Victor lay there clutching his mouth, eyes wide, dazed. His perfect white teeth? Not so perfect anymore. One sat near his shoulder, glinting under the pool lights like a tiny, expensive casualty. I didn't move toward him. I didn't jump on him. I didn't scream. I just adjusted my sleeve. Nina rushed forward, voice high-pitched and panicked. Aaron, are you insane? I looked at her, calm in a way that scared even me. He touched me, I said. I returned the favor. Victor groaned, trying to sit up. Blood trickled between his fingers, but I kept my eyes on his. You walked up to a married man, I said evenly, bragged about sleeping with his wife, and called him a loser in front of a crowd. What exactly did you think was going to happen, Victor? A toast. A murmur rippled through the people around us. The words sank in. Some of them looked at Nina like they were seeing her for the first time. Somebody get him a towel, someone muttered. One of his co-workers knelt down. Boss, you okay? Don't touch me. Victor snarled, voice mangled around his hand. Call an ambulance. Call the cops. He assaulted me. Great idea, I said. Let's get the cops. While we're at it, let's get HR. And maybe your wife too. She should probably hear what you just said. That shut a few people up. Because yes, Victor was married. I'd learned that from a quick search the night I saw his messages on Nina's phone. Social media was helpful like that. Photos of Victor and his wife, Lisa, smiling in front of Christmas trees and vacation spots while he was busy texting my wife about hotel rooms. I turned to the crowd, raising my voice just enough. Just to be clear, I said, he announced in front of, what, 30 of you? That my wife is staying with him tonight. He called me a loser, patted my face, and offered me his secretary as a consolation prize. Did anyone not hear that? A few people shifted uneasily. A couple nodded. One guy in a blazer said quietly, we heard. Victor tried to stand, slipped, and dropped back to his knees. Humility looked ugly on him. You're done, he spat, pointing at me with a shaky hand. You're going to jail. I'll ruin you. I tilted my head. You already tried, I said. You just picked the wrong battleground. 2 security guards finally showed up from near the entrance, drawn by the commotion. What's going on? One asked. Victor tried to talk, but it came out garbled. I stepped in. This man, I said calmly, just announced he's having an affair with my wife and taunted me about it. Then he put his hand in my face. I reacted. I shouldn't have hit him. I'll own that. But if you want the full story, so will he. The guard looked between us, trying to decide if this was above his pay grade. It was. Maybe everybody should head inside, he said to the onlookers. Party's over out here. People started drifting away, not because they were bored, but because they wanted to talk about it somewhere else. You could feel it. The way they leaned in, whispering. I knew exactly what would happen next. By tomorrow morning, everyone in that company would know. I stepped back, giving the guards room to help Victor to his feet. Nina grabbed my arm. What have you done? She hissed. He's my boss. Former boss, I said. You've ruined everything, she said, eyes wild. Istert her. I ruined everything? She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. The realization flickered in her eyes, just for a second, that she'd chosen the wrong side at the worst possible time. I'm leaving, I said. You can't just, she started. I cut her off. We're done here, Nina. Stay. Go. Spend the night where you planned. It doesn't matter. We're not pretending after this. I didn't wait for her answer. I walked straight through the glass doors, past the buffet, past the bar, past the people pretending to check their phones while they listened. One of the managers, a woman I'd met earlier, stepped in front of me as I reached the front hall. I'm so sorry you had to hear that, she said quietly. He crossed a line. He crossed about 50, I said. But I appreciate you saying that.
If HR reaches out, she began. I'll be happy to talk, I finished. Honestly.
She nodded, eyes hard in a way that told me Victor's downfall wouldn't just be about an affair. Men like him rarely limit their disrespect to one person. I left the house, got in my car, and sat there for a full minute with my hands on the wheel.
My heart was pounding. My knuckles throbbed. But underneath all of that, I felt strangely calm. Because the punch?
That wasn't the revenge. That was just punctuation. The real revenge would be slow, measured, and devastating in all the ways that mattered. On the drive home, I called someone I hadn't spoken to in a while.
My cousin, Marcus.
He was a lawyer. Not the ambulance-chasing kind.
Corporate. Contracts. Workplace misconduct.
The kind of guy who knew exactly what happened when a senior executive slept with a subordinate and got caught. He picked up on the second ring.
Aaron, he said. Wow, long time.
Everything all right?
Define all right, I said.
Hypothetical for you.
He chuckled. Hit me.
If a married executive is sleeping with an employee he directly manages, I said, and humiliates her spouse at a company event by announcing it in front of witnesses, how bad is that for him legally and professionally? Marcus whistled. That's not hypothetical. And the answer is, really bad. Most corporate handbooks have policies against relationships where there's a power imbalance. Throw in public humiliation, conflict of interest, misuse of company events, it's a mess. And if someone were to report that, I asked, with witnesses? He'd be facing an investigation at bare minimum, Marcus replied.
At worst? Termination.
Possible harassment claims. Maybe even lawsuits if anyone can prove coercion or favoritism. Why are you asking? Because I just punched that executive in the mouth after he bragged about sleeping with my wife in front of half his staff, I said. Marcus was silent for a beat. Did anyone get it on video? He asked.
Probably, I said.
Everyone had their phones out like it was a concert. Good, he said quickly. You're going to want proof of what he said. Not just what you did. Has he called the cops yet?
Maybe, I said.
Security was with him when I left. Aaron, he said, voice dropping into that lawyer tone. Listen carefully. If the police contact you, don't volunteer a long speech. Just state that you felt provoked and threatened by his physical contact and his verbal attack. And then shut up and ask for counsel. I'll help you. But you have something he doesn't. What's that? I asked. The moral high ground and the policy book on your side, he said. You didn't start this.
He did.
And if he wants to drag this into the open, good. Because then everything comes out. You think his wife should know? I asked. I think his wife should have known months ago, Marcus said. Do you know her name?
Lisa, I said. 2 kids.
Saw it online. Send me anything you've got, he said.
Screenshots, witnesses, names.
If he tries to come after you, we hit back with HR, his board, his clients, and his wife. You didn't go looking for war. He walked up and declared it. People like that always think they're untouchable.
They're not.
After we hung up, I pulled into our driveway. Nina still wasn't home. The house felt different when I walked in. Not smaller or bigger, just hollow. Like someone had taken the air out of it. I went to the bedroom, pulled a suitcase from under the bed, and set it upright. I didn't start packing yet. Not out of hesitation, but because I wanted to do this with a clear head. Instead, I sat at my desk, opened my laptop, and started writing. Dates. Times. Messages I remembered word for word. Names of everyone I recognized at the party. I wrote it all down while it was still fresh. I backed it up to a drive. Sent a copy to Marcus. Another to a secure email. If she thought I was going to sit in the dark and cry while she played house with her boss, she'd picked the wrong man. Around 1 a.m., I heard the front door. Keys. The soft thud of her heels. The pause when she saw the lamp on. Aaron. She called, tentative. In here, I said. She stepped into the living room, hair slightly frizzed from the humidity, dress slightly wrinkled, makeup smudged. She looked tired, angry, and scared all at once. What did you do? She demanded. Hit your boyfriend, I said. In front of his employees. You were there. She winced. You humiliated me. I laughed once, humorless. That's your takeaway? You could go to jail, she snapped. He's furious. He said he's pressing charges. You've ruined everything, Aaron. My job.
My reputation. Our life.
Correction, I said calmly. You ruined our life the moment you decided late meetings meant hotel rooms. I just stopped pretending. Her mouth opened and closed like she was searching for a script that fit this moment and couldn't find one.
You don't understand, she said finally.
Victor can make or break my career. You don't just punch someone like him. You don't just sleep with someone like him while you're married either, I said. Yet here we are. She blinked, stunned I'd said it so plainly.
How long? I asked.
Her eyes darted away. It doesn't matter. It matters to me, I said.
How long? She swallowed. A few months.
Before or after the nights you started coming home smelling like his cologne?
I asked. Aaron, stop, she said.
You're twisting this. I stared at her, really stared. You stood there and let him talk to me like I was nothing, I said. Like I was some pathetic extra in your little affair. You didn't say, stop. You didn't say, that's my husband. You just stood there. I didn't know he was going to say that, she muttered. But you knew enough about him to know he could, I replied. And you kept going back.
She went quiet.
For the first time I saw it, she wasn't just ashamed of getting caught.
She was ashamed of who she'd become.
Aaron, she said softly, can we please just talk about this tomorrow?
I'm exhausted.
You hit him. He's hurt.
Everything is a mess. Just give me a night to sleep.
No, I said.
You've had plenty of nights.
She flinched.
I'm calling a lawyer, I said. Marcus is helping. I'm not making decisions tonight. But I will say this, I'm done being the only one in this marriage who respects it.
Her eyes filled.
You're divorcing me? I'm seriously considering it, I said. What happens to us from here on out depends on what the truth looks like, not the version you think you can sell me. Aaron, I love you, she said desperately.
It was a mistake.
You don't trip and fall into months of cheating, I said.
It wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern.
You just finally ran into consequences. She covered her face with her hands, shoulders shaking. When Victor comes after you, she said into her palms, don't say I didn't warn you. I stood, heading for the hallway.
She called after me.
What are you going to do?
I paused. Me. I said.
I'm going to tell the truth.
To HR. To your parents. To his wife.
To anyone who needs to hear it. I looked back over my shoulder. And the best part?
I added.
He opened the door for all of it himself.
Her tears froze.
Because somewhere deep down, she understood.
The punch might heal.
The missing tooth could be replaced. But the fallout from what was coming next? That would hit much harder. On his career, on her job, on the life they thought they could build on lies. And that was just getting started. The morning after the party felt strangely quiet.
Too quiet.
Nina didn't come out of the bedroom.
I didn't go in.
The only sounds were my footsteps across the hardwood and the occasional buzz of my phone vibrating with incoming messages. 3 missed calls from an unknown number.
2 voicemails.
A text from my cousin Marcus, he's panicking. Call me ASAP.
I brewed coffee first.
I wasn't rushing. When I finally called Marcus, he answered immediately. Your little love triangle just became a corporate firestorm, he said.
I figured. I replied.
He tried to get ahead of it, Marcus said. Filed a report against you first thing this morning. Claimed unprovoked assault.
I snorted. Of course he did.
But, Marcus continued, before HR could even schedule a meeting, 2 employees emailed them saying they witnessed him bragging about sleeping with your wife and provoking you.
I blinked. 2. 3 more came forward after, he added.
Your punch wasn't the scandal. His mouth was. A slow, cold satisfaction spread through my chest. Marcus went on, someone posted anonymously about the incident on the company's internal forum.
And by someone, I mean multiple someones.
His reputation is toast. What about his wife?
I asked. Oh, she knows now, Marcus said. I didn't contact her.
She saw a clip.
A clip. Yep.
Someone recorded the whole thing. The bragging.
The slap to your face. The fall. The tooth. Everything.
My eyebrows rose. And it's circulating? It leaked to his wife's group chat, Marcus said. She moved out this morning. I leaned back in my chair.
So he underestimated. The audience. Big time, Marcus said. And the best part?
HR called your wife in, too. They're reviewing her relationship with him.
I went quiet.
Nina was still in the bedroom.
Marcus sighed.
Aaron, this is going to cost them both. But I need to know what you want.
Divorce? Separation? Counseling?
I'll support whatever you choose. I want the truth documented, I said. And then I want out. Marcus didn't hesitate. I'll draft everything. After the call, I walked into the hallway. The bedroom door was cracked open. Nina sat on the edge of the bed, eyes swollen from crying, makeup smeared, hair a tangled mess. She looked nothing like the woman who strutted into Victor's party the night before.
She looked small. Is it true? She whispered.
About the video?
Yes, I said.
And everyone's seen it. She buried her face in her hands. My job's going to fire me. It's possible, I said, not cruelly, not kindly, just honestly.
And Victor? She asked weakly. I shrugged. Probably worse. She swallowed hard.
I didn't want this. You started this, I corrected. She looked up, tears streaming.
Aaron, please.
I'll do anything. I made a mistake. I got caught up in something stupid. I didn't think. That's the problem, I said quietly. You didn't think about me.
Or us.
Or the consequences until they were knocking at your door.
I love you, she said.
I swear I do.
You loved the attention more. She flinched like I'd hit her. I walked to the closet and slid a box out from the top shelf, our wedding album. I opened it, flipped through the pages of smiling faces, vows, dances, families hugging.
Look at this, I said. Look at who we were.
She stared at the photos, breathing heavy. Tell me, I said, when did that become worth risking for a man you barely knew outside of work?
She didn't answer.
Tears fell silently. Finally, she whispered, Are you leaving me? I'm leaving the version of us that no longer exists, I said.
Softly.
She sobbed then, shoulders shaking uncontrollably.
Please, Aaron. Don't throw us away. I'll quit. I'll block him.
I'll do anything. I closed the album. You should have done anything before you did everything wrong. She looked at me with pure desperation. Tell me what to do to fix this. I shook my head slowly.
You can fix yourself.
You can fix your career. But you can't fix what you broke between us. She grabbed my hand, crying harder.
I'll change. I promise.
I'll fight for you. I needed you to fight for me when he insulted me in front of everyone, I said.
I froze, she cried.
I was scared. You froze because your fantasy collided with reality, I said. And you realized you weren't with some powerful man, you were standing beside a bully.
She stopped moving. Stopped crying. Just stared.
A long, painful silence settled between us. I'm filing, I said. Marcus is handling it.
Please, she whispered.
Don't do this.
I already did, I said.
You just don't want to face it. Her face contorted, heartbreak and anger tangled together. You'll regret this, she said finally, voice cracking. You'll realize I was the best thing that ever happened to you. I took a breath, steady and calm.
No, I said.
But you'll realize I was the best thing that ever happened to you. And you lost me because another man made you feel shiny for 5 minutes. She broke all over again.
I stepped back, picked up my keys, opened the door.
Before leaving,